Hi everyone, my name is Mohit. Welcome to Not Just Advice, a channel where I help you improve your French, not just by giving advice, but with the help of practical working sessions. In this video, we're going to learn French with the help of newspapers, and this is the second video in series on newspapers. This is the article that we're going to read today. It's on bedbugs in Paris. So without further ado, let's get started. As usual, I'll start by describing the topic, and we divided the article in 3 parts, and at the end of each part, I'll ask you a question which you'll be able to answer if you pay attention in this video, okay? The topic of the article is « Oh punaise, je ne mettrai plus les pieds au cinéma avant un moment ». Okay, so say, here the saying, the topic of the article is « Oh punaise, je ne mettrai plus les pieds au cinéma avant un moment ». Okay. Oh, punaise. Punaise in French has two meanings, and it's a word play, and it's often the case with French newspaper titles that there's a word play in newspapers. Punaise in French is bug. That's the first meaning, and also punaise with an exclamation mark is damn it. Okay, so punaise, oh punaise. So we're saying, oh damn it, there are bed bugs. Je ne mettrai plus. This is most likely a testimonial by someone. I would not anymore put my feet au cinéma, which means I wouldn't go to cinemas avant un moment, before a time, before some good time, good amount of time. Un moment. Un moment in French has two meanings, unlike in English where it only has one meaning, a precise moment. But in French, it has the same meaning. It could mean a precise moment, or it could also mean a duration in time, which is bigger than a precise moment, okay? Let's begin by analyzing the subtopic. La peur des piqûres d'insectes, the fear of insect bites, et d'en rapporter à la maison and of bringing them back to the house. Okay, détourne le public, distracts the public or diverts the public of what? Détourne le public de salle de sport, de les salles de sport. And this is partitive article, which is combined of de and les salles obscures parisiennes, the dark rooms of Paris, okay, the Parisian dark rooms, which means is referring here to cinema halls, okay? Cinema halls are usually dark because we display movies there, and for better experience, we turn off all the lights. So des salles obscures are basically dark rooms, and Parisien means Paris, of Paris, okay? Depuis fin août, since the end of August. Why? We'll see that later. Malgré les mesures des exploitants, despite the measures or despite the efforts by exploitants, is basically dirigents or leaders of some organization, okay? Let's begin with the first part. Elle a témoigné sur X, ex-Twitter. She testified on Twitter, or X, now it's called X, it's the new name. Et depuis, and ever since, fait frissonner les salles obscures. Fait frissonner. Fait frissonner is causative form, as I discussed in one of my earlier videos. Frissonner is to shiver. So it made shudder. She made shudder, or she made shiver. What? The dark rooms, the cinema halls. So of course, she didn't literally make them shiver, but she did them figuratively shiver by doing something. She bore testimony to something, and we'll read about that testimony going forward. Le 26 août, that is the fin août that we're discussing here, 26th of August. Naval is the name of a lady, une habitante du 12e arrondissement de Paris, living being, or I don't know, citizen of the 12th arrondissement de Paris. Paris, just as sectors in Chandigarh or in other cities, is divided into arrondissement. Okay, so one of the arrondissement, which is called the 12th arrondissement, is having, or a lady lives here, okay, which expliqué sur les réseaux sociaux, on the social medias. S'être fait piquer, se faire plus infinitive in French is used to explain. Be plus infinitive. So whatever is the infinitive, we refer to that verb. So be bitten is the present, se faire piquer, but s'être fait piquer is the past form of it. So having been bitten. Par des punaises de lit. Punaises de lit is bedbugs. Par des punaises de lit au cinéma UGC Bercy. So it's the name of the cinema, UGC Bercy. UGC is one of the chains in France. of cinemas. So just like we have PVR in India, we have Inox in India, we have Imagine Cinemas in Canada, we have Cineplex in Canada. It's the same thing in France. UGC is one of the cinema chains, okay? So au cinéma, UGC Bercy. Bercy is probably one of the cinemas of UGC chain. So it's like saying PVR Mumbai, okay? L'affaire a fait grand bruit. The business or the matter a fait grand bruit. Faire grand bruit is an expression in French which means to make a lot of commotion, make a lot of movement. So this one tweet, this one testimonial by this lady called Naval made things happen in Paris and worldwide, in fact, because this matter is now a worldwide tendency or, a trend, because I have seen a video on Indian media as well talking about this very issue, and I'll link that down in the description box below. So l'affaire, the business, the matter, made a lot of noise, made, a lot of commotion, jusqu'à ce que, up until the point, to some extent, to that extent, that que certains internautes are basically internet users. So un internaute, une internaute. So here we see un internaute probably. Et collègue de travail, il faut le dire. And also some internet users and colleagues of work. Colleagues in French is basically having two sense. One is colleagues, just as in English. The second is also an informal way of saying buddy or friends. Okay, so friends at work. So what this matter has done, it has pushed some internet users and some buddies from work to say what? Il faut le dire. Il faut le dire is it's necessary to say and add that these colleagues from work as well. What have they done? What have they committed to? And to what extent have they gone, having heard this tendency of the presence of bedbugs in cinema? Assure ne plus vouloir se frotter au fauteuil de UGC. Okay. So they have assured, assuré, ne plus vouloir, not being willing anymore, ne plus, I discussed this negation in one of my videos, se frotter au fauteuil de l'UGC, okay? Se frotter is basically to rub against something, to touch something. So they're literally saying that they wouldn't rub their backs against the chairs. Fauteuil, un fauteuil is an armchair. So au fauteuil de l'UGC. So given that this incident of finding or spotting of bedbugs happened in one of the cinema halls of UGC, they're scared that every other cinema hall of UGC is also in a similar condition, and hence they have kind of committed to not going to the cinema halls anymore. Okay, so let's listen to the first témoignage of some guy or lady.
Un pote me disait avoir vu des spectateurs scruter leur siège à la lumière de leur téléphone.
Okay, so un pote is again a very familiar way of saying a buddy, a friend in French. Un pote me disait, a friend told me, avoir vu, what did he say? Having seen des spectateurs, the film watchers, des spectateurs scruter leur siège. Scruter leur siège is examine carefully, like this, okay? So what they did was examine their seats. Siège is the seat or the fauteuil, okay? À la lumière de leur téléphone. À la lumière, they were scanning. So let's say this is the phone. I turn on the light of my phone and I scan the seats of the cinema halls before sitting to check if there are any bedbugs on these, okay? Nous lâcher notre collègue. Nous lâcher, se lâcher is to leave, okay? To leave something. So here, most likely they're saying nous lâcher gave us or left us this comment. La tendance a vite été vérifiée après notre appel à témoignage. The tendency or the trend of what? Of the fact that people are scanning their seats with the help of their flashlights on their phones was vite été vérifié, was quickly verified after our call for testimonials, après notre appel, our appel is called, our témoignage is testimonials. Du côté de fans de ciné, on est plutôt refroidi. from the side of, on the side of what? Du côté des fans de ciné. Ciné is short form for cinema. On est plutôt refroidi. We are rather. Plutôt is rather. Refroidi. We often, we rather get chilled by what we hear from them, okay? So let's hear what this guy has to say, or this lady has to say.
Je ne mettrai plus les pieds au cinéma avant un long moment.
So we discovered that this is the lady who says this title line. So she says, I wouldn't, as I explained in the title, I wouldn't put my feet au cinéma, in cinema halls, avant un long moment. Avant un long moment, as I explained, here they've omitted long, probably because it's self-evident, because I told you that moment in French is having two meanings. One is the precise moment, just as in English, but also a long duration in time. And here it's the latter, as we discussed, and is mentioned here, un long moment. So she says that I wouldn't put my feet, or I wouldn't go back to cinemas before long duration, because now that this problem has come up, I wouldn't be very, safe, or, I wouldn't be very assured that these cinema halls are very clean. So I wouldn't put my feet back into the cinema halls very soon. Explique Claire. So the name of this lady was Claire. Peu rassurée. Very less assured, rassurée. Depuis le témoignage de Naval, as I told you, Naval is the lady who started this trend fin août, on 26th of August. L'UGC a assuré aux Parisiens que les salles concernées avaient été traitées. The UGC, the PVR equivalent in France, UGC, has assured who? Assured à Parisien, à Le Parisien. Le Parisien is converted to Au Parisien. That Parisien is basically one of the French newspapers. It's a very famous newspaper, just as 1 minute. Que les salles concernées avaient été traitées. That the concerned rooms or salles is the halls. Here, in this context, it means the cinema halls. Concerné is the concerned rooms. Avait été traité, had been treated, okay? Pris à partie par des clients sur les réseaux sociaux. Pris à partie, prendre à partie is an expression in French which means to be challenged by somebody, to be tackled by somebody. So he's saying challenged by who? Challenged by the client. Client in French is the clients or the customers. Sur les réseaux sociaux, on the social medias. Le MK de Caille de Loire a également réagi. So MK de Caille de Loire is basically a cinema hall in Paris, France. It has been challenged on social media, most likely on the same issue of presence of bedbugs in their cinema halls, although the bedbugs were found in one of the cinema halls of UGC, but given that the fear is mongering along in the public, MK de Caille de Loire, the other cinema halls have also been questioned about this, okay? So what they have done is au menu. Au menu literally means on the menu, but here it's a figurative meaning, which means on the agenda, on the discussion, is détection canine. Détection canine pour repérer la présence de punaises de lit et traitement à vapeur sèche à 180 degrés Celsius si besoin, okay? So we're saying, on the discussion on the agenda is canine detection. Canine detection is basically detection of bed bugs by dogs. So canine here is referring to dogs. Pour repérer, to spot or to observe, okay, la présence, the presence of what? Of bed bugs. And traitement à vapeur et traitement and treatment à vapeur sèche à 180 degrés Celsius, okay? So he's saying if these bed bugs are found by these dogs, what is done is the seeds are treated by vapeur sèche. Vapeur is steam, sèche is dry. So dry steam at 180 degrees Celsius, si besoin, if it's needed, if the bed bugs have been detected, okay? That brings us to the end of the first part. Let's see if you can answer this simple question. Can you explain the signification, the meaning of the expression faire grand bruit? I explained it to you here, la faire grand bruit. Can you explain to me this meaning in the comment section below? Let's move on to the second part where we say UGC certifie même que cette procédure fait des salles de cinéma, ok, paradoxalement l'endroit le plus sain de Paris en ce moment. Ok. UGC again, certifie, it certifies even that, même que cette procédure, most likely this procedure of treatment with superheated steam, faire des salles, so faire de in French means to transform something into something else, okay? It has transformed these cinema halls, salles de cinéma, paradoxically is contrary to what we believe. Now that we're talking about the cinemas being the dirtiest place with bed bugs and all, into what? L'endroit, the place, le plus sain, the most clean place, the cleanest place in Paris, à Paris, okay? Paradoxically, here means contrary to what we likely believe, okay? We cannot really believe that these places with bed bugs are the most clean places in Paris now. Would you believe? Let's move on. L'entreprise affirme d'ailleurs n'avoir pas observé de baisse de la fréquentation de ces salles, du moins rien de notable. Okay. L'entreprise is referring to UGC, affirme d'ailleurs n'avoir pas observé. It affirms, moreover, or by the way, not having observed, n'avoir pas observé, de baisse, observed what? The baisse is basically lowering de la fréquentation. Fréquentation in French is basically used to describe the visit frequency of people at some place. So when we're talking about some public space where people can visit, fréquentation is the frequency or the number of times people visit that place. So here, given the public place we're talking about the cinema hall, so the entreprise, the enterprise, which is UGC, certifies that or affirms that this is not the case. They haven't really observed a decrease in the frequency of visits of people. Du moins, at least, rien de notable. Even if it has lowered, it is not really something that has affected their business by a huge amount, okay? Okay, let's move on. Des cinéphiles pas facile à rassurer. The cinema likers are not really easy to reassure, okay? Given that this has happened, this tendency has made a lot of commotion. It's not really easy to kind of turn the tables again back to the original situation. Let's read this. Reste que ces mesures n'ont pas suffi à rassurer, Manon. The fact remains, reste que, nevertheless, ces mesures, these measures, what measures of the treatment of these seeds by steam are not really sufficient, n'ont pas suffi à rassurer, Manon. Okay, Manon is most likely a lady or a man who will give witness. She's 26 ans, elle a 26 ans, okay? She's 26-year-old. Je crois, so she says, let's listen to her témoignage.
Je crois que seule la mise en place d'un processus de nettoyage complet à la vapeur de manière régulière pourrait me rassurer.
Okay, so she says, I believe, je crois que, that seul, only the implementation, la mise en place of what? D'un processus de nettoyage complet, of a complete cleaning process, d'un processus de nettoyage complet, nettoyage is cleaning, complet is complete, à la vapeur is by steam, de manière régulière, in a regular fashion, in a regular manner, could reassure or could reassure me, okay? So she's saying, I believe only regular treatment of these seeds by steam can reassure me, could reassure me. Trancher in French is basically to decide or to judge, okay? So she judges that only the treatment, regular treatment can reassure me, okay? Let's listen to what someone else has to say. Sylvie, she's saying something.
Je souhaiterais être informé dans mon cinéma, par voie d'affichage. J'ai besoin de savoir s'il a été traité en cas d'infestation de punaises de lit.
Okay, so she's saying, I would like to be. Souhaiterais is the conditional present. Je souhaiterais, I would like to be. I'd very well want to be informed. Okay, être informé dans mon cinéma. In my cinema, in the cinema halls that I go to, par voie d'affichage, by means of posters, display posters. Affichage is by means of display. J'ai besoin de savoir, I need to know, s'il a été traité, the cinema hall that I'm going to, I need to know if, si, il is referring to the cinema hall, il a été traité, it has been treated, in case of infestation, en cas d'infestation de punaises de lit, in case of infestation by bedbugs, abonde Sylvie. Abonde Sylvie is that she pays contributions or she contributes her opinion by saying this above line. So let's see if you've understood the second part with the help of the second question. Pouvez-vous expliquer la signification du mot paradoxalement? Can you explain to me in simple terms? I know it's called paradoxically in English. It's very simple. But what's the actual sense of this word? Can you explain to me in the comment section below? Let's move on to the third part. Je réfléchis à la possibilité de résilier mon abonnement UGC à cause du phénomène, ayant remarqué l'état de certaines salles d'UGC, les Halles, Bercy, Lyon, Bastille, qui ne sont pas entretenues. Okay. So, réfléchir à, in French, is to think about something. So, je réfléchis, I think about the possibility de résilier mon abonnement. Résilier is to cancel something, okay? Résilier mon abonnement is subscription. So, whoever is saying this, he's saying that I'm thinking about canceling, or I'm thinking about the possibility of canceling my subscription to UGC. So, in India, the cinema halls work like this. We buy a ticket and we watch the movie and that's the end, okay? But in France, there are cinema halls which offer unlimited subscriptions, just like the TV subscriptions that we have for Netflix and other platforms, where if you have the subscription, you can go and watch unlimited amount of times. That is the case with cinema halls in France, and particularly with UGC, which offers subscription services. If you pay monthly, you can watch the entire set of movies that come out from and in UGC, okay? So she's saying that I'm thinking of canceling the subscription of UGC à cause de le phénomène, de plus le becomes do. Le phénomène is basically the phenomena of bedbugs being observed in the Paris's cinema halls. Ayant remarqué l'état, having observed the state de certaines salles is basically some rooms of UGC, les Halles, Bercy, Lyon, Bastille. Basically, these are locations, I'm guessing. Halles, Bercy, Lyon et Bastille qui ne sont pas entretenus, which were not maintained, okay, which are not maintained. Nous confie, se confier in French means to confide in somebody. Olivia, the name of this lady is Olivia, she's 64 years old. Abonnée depuis plus de 4 ans. She has been a subscriber. Abonnée is a subscriber with an extra E, which means she's a female. Depuis, since, plus de 4 ans, more than 4 years, okay? Celle qui a remarqué, she is the one. Celle is referring to Olivia. Celle is the feminine form of demonstrative pronoun, referring to this one. This is the lady. Qui a remarqué, she has observed that les petites salles où les sièges sont sales, usagées, défraîchis, où l'air est parfois vicié. Okay. So she has observed that these little rooms, these little halls, where les sièges, the seats or the fauteuils, sont sales. Sale is basically dirty. Usagé is used or worn out. Défraîchi is again worn out or stale. Et où l'air est parfois vicié, and where the air is sometimes contaminated or stale. Okay, so she's describing that the newspaper is describing that she's the one to point out that the seats in the cinema halls were used, stale, faded, and sometimes the air there is also not very good, of very good quality. Rappelle que le flot de punaises de lit ne date pas d'hier. So she also reminds us that le flot is basically the plague or the burst of this disease, of this event, is not really a thing of yesterday. It's even though it's been discovered on 26th of August, given that the bedbugs were present there, is proof that it's not really a thing of the yesterday. It's been there since a long time, okay? Il y a 2 ans, la presse avait déjà alerté. So it has been 2 years. The press is la presse in French, is the newspapers, had déjà alerté. They had alerted us that this could very well be the case with the cinemas in French, but nobody acted then. It's been 2 years that this had been in our notice, but we haven't acted then. But now that somebody has given a témoignage, a testimonial on Twitter, this has become a thing, but this is not a thing of today. It's actually existing since 2 years, okay? So let's listen to this last témoignage.
Regarder un film dans une salle dégueulasse est indigne de l'image de marque de notre ville. On n'est plus dans le domaine de rationnel mais dans celui de la vénalité, de la paresse et de la bêtise.
Okay, so she's saying watching a film in a disgusting room, une salle dégueulasse, est indigne de, être indigne de, in French is an expression, which means it's unworthy. It's unworthy of what? Of the image of the brand of our city. On n'est plus dans le domaine du rationnel, mais dans celui de la vénalité. We are not really in the domain, in the area, in the sector of rational decision making, but dans celui is referring back to le domaine. Okay, celui is the masculine form of cell. Celui, this one, cell, this one, but both refer to feminine, masculine and feminine respectively. So celui is referring to le domaine. So we're not really in the domain of rational, which means we're not really discussing rational things, but we are in the domain of celui de la vénalité. Vénalité is the tendency to be sold because of bribes and money. De la paresse, idleness, or laziness. Et de la bêtise. De la bêtise, it's stupidity. So she conclude la sexagénaire. Sexagénaire in French is a reference to someone who is 60 to 70 years old. As I mentioned in one of my videos, which I'll link down here. Exasperated, she's exasperated, she's enervated, she is indignated, or she is furious par le traitement réservé aux fans de cinéma. By the treatment which is reserved, which is meant for the fans of cinema, okay? So here you notice that this 64 ans has been replaced with sexagénaire just to not repeat it, and it's a good practice even in fête d'hiver to write this, okay? So this brings us to the end of this article, but before we move on, let me ask you the question from the third part. What is the difference between the words la paresse et la presse? Okay, there's only a difference of A in these words. Can you explain to me in the comment section below what's the difference between these two words? That brings us to the first bonus, which is the vocabulary list, which contains the meanings of all the words that were used in this video. You can refer to this by pausing this video here. I can also send you the lesson PDF if you request it on Telegram. The second bonus I have for you today is a grammar plus a culture lesson. So the grammar topic that we're going to discuss is the adverbial pronoun en, which can replace a quantity, a place, or an object or preposition de. Okay. This little word has a lot of possible translations. You can read them here, and I'll explain it to you with the help of examples. Voulez-vous une orange? Do you want an orange? So it's basically a pronoun which replaces an object, okay? And an object, when we want to refer it without repeating it, we use the adverbial pronoun en, okay? So do you want an orange? In English, let's say I say, I'm going to eat one, okay? And one here is referring to the orange, okay? Similarly in French, je vais en manger une. I'll eat one of it, okay? One from it or of it, okay? Of it is of an orange, okay? The second example is, combien d'enfants as-tu? How many kids do you have? Je n'en ai pas. I don't have any of them, okay? En is referring to enfant here, okay? So the extract from the article where we discuss en is la peur des piqûres d'insectes. It's in the subtitle. Et d'en rapporter à la maison. D'en rapporter, en is referring here to insects, okay? That brings us to the last part, which is the culture. And it's very important to know a lot of cultural references which are often present in these articles in order to better understand them. So Le Parisien is mentioned in this article. It's a very famous French daily newspaper, as I mentioned. It covers international and national news. And UGC, as I just said, it's an equivalent of PVR, Cineplex, and Imagine Cinemas in France. And we had also MK the Quai de Loire, which I checked is basically a cinema, a hall. There are two cinemas, in fact, one each on the opposite sides of Seine, which is a river that flows within Paris. And one of them is called MK de Quai de Seine. The second one is called MK de Quai de Loire. So they're basically on the opposite banks, but they have different names. Okay. Here are the questions of the day. I hope you can answer these questions in the comment section below. Here I have the famous tweet that started all this commotion, and you can refer to this if you have some time. That brings us to the end of this video. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a like. It helps me immensely with the YouTube algorithm in helping me reaching to more wider audience. And subscribe to the channel for more such content, and I'll see you next time. Bye.